West, the other yo.
You can outsmart the scammers. A message from Republic Bank. Report any suspicious activity to customer care at rfhl.com.
You gotta get things, you gotta get things, you gotta pretty ups and downs. As you guide and protect me from my enemy, every day and night I keep watch from my enemy. Must protect my life, must protect my life. Through the ups and downs of this journey, yeah. So much greatness we have inside. I keep on saying I on those who try to take my life. Yeah. Still they try to get me. Been in the fight since I was a child. Those friends and family failed me. It's no excuse to be lazy. It's the gifts that you gave me. I see the vision clearly. We write the pages to what we are destined for daily. Daily. With each page of your story, every level vary. Just believe in yourself, you're the star in your story. As you guide and protect me from my enemy, every day and night I keep watch from my enemy. Must protect my life, must protect my life. Through the ups and downs of this journey, yeah. Though they test you what to forget, press on with your desire. So much people's been through this. What's your reason for wasting gifts that you bear? There's no road that's been really fair. God has never stopped working here. Mama team every day, every God they love him. Stop how we bet him what the world is waiting here for you and me. So don't give in. We all can win. Just look within. We all can win. Let no need wanted, as you guide and protect me from my enemy. Every day and night I keep watch from my enemy. Must protect my life, must protect my life. Through the ups and downs of this journey, yeah.
8:27 of the morning time. We thank you once again for joining us in today's edition of the Hot Seat. It's a good-looking Monday, the 23rd day of June today, in the year 2025. Now, you'd have heard, and if you were listening earlier to the Government in Five at the top of the program this morning, you'd have heard an announcement from Press Secretary Dion Durand that there's going to be a press conference this morning. I'm hearing it's now scheduled for 11 o'clock, so that press conference will be live on this station from 11 o'clock this morning. And I'm sure the media will have a lot to talk about with the Prime Minister. Much has happened in recent times. The Prime Minister was out at the meeting of the OECS Authority in St. Vincent and the Grenadines last week, and had a lot to say about ceding responsibility, ceding sovereignty or responsibilities to the center so that the OECS gets a chance to do more things. And it's a discussion, I guess, he will initiate with the people of Dominica at some point in time. There's a lot of concern as to whether CARICOM is effective, and the OECS is talking about some leaders in the OECS talking about breaking away from CARICOM and having bilaterals. OECS standing on its own and having bilateral agreements with the countries of CARICOM, the Jamaicas and the Trinidads and Guyanas and so on, and let these island nations of the OECS, Dominica and Antigua and Barbuda and Grenada and St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Vincent and the Grenadines and St. Lucia have their little integration grouping of 6, and then they will have bilaterals with the bigger countries in the integration grouping called CARICOM. One to watch, one to keep your eyes on. Last week, it was about, exactly 1 week ago, on Monday of last week, you had the unfortunate collapse of the roof of the auditorium at the Dominica Grammar School, project in construction. It's been in construction for some time, and the roof caved in, collapsed last week, Monday. Lots of concerns about that. Let me spend a little time with you this morning just trying to, because you've heard a lot. You've heard that the government is going to, or an independent investigation has been put in place. Independent investigators are looking at what happened. The government wants to know. The site has been shut down, etc. All right, now, just for better understanding, this is a construction project where the government has hired a developer. That developer is Montreal Management Company, and Montreal Management Company may have engaged its architects, or probably has in-house architects, has engaged engineers, or probably has in-house engineers, and building contractors. Now, you have to understand that every party has certain responsibilities that will, at the end of the day, contribute to the overall success and the completion of the project. But I want to say a little thing about the responsibilities of the developer, because that's the first arrangement. The government wanted to do the grammar school. The government decided on a developer for the grammar school project, who essentially is the project manager. The project management responsibility is with the developer, and that is Montreal Management Company. What is the responsibility there, the project management responsibility? Well, MMC has to oversee the entire construction project from inception to completion, must ensure that it stays on schedule and within budget. MMC as developer also has a funding/financing responsibility. That means it must secure the necessary financing for the project and must manage the budgets and the cash flows and so on and so on. In this situation here, right, we are unsure whether MMC is funding or MMC is financing, because if you're funding, then you're providing money with no expectation of a payback of the money. But if you're financing, then you expect your money back with interest and so on. And I'm making this observation because at the end of the day, it is the money from the sale of our passports that is paying for the grammar school project. But with these arrangements that the government has entered into with MMC, which we have discussed and queried through the years, we hear of MMC front-loading money and then repaying itself from citizenship sales. And so that is what it is. Whether is it funding because it's our money paying at the end of the day, or is it financing? All right. The developer also must negotiate and manage the contracts with, if you have outside architects, you have engineers, and you have the contractor. In this case, ADS is the building contractor on the project. And there must be, well, the responsibility is there to ensure that all the terms and conditions of the various contracts are met. The MMC as developer also has a compliance responsibility in which it must ensure that the project complies with all the relevant laws, all the regulations, and the permits, the building codes, and all of that stuff. And it has, as well as developer, a responsibility for stakeholder communication that requires that it acts as the point of contact between the government and all other parties involved, and must keep stakeholders informed of progress and issues. There is also, finally, a quality control responsibility which mandates MMC to ensure that the project meets the required quality standards and specifications. So that's the developer. And when government engages a developer, the government expects that the developer is going to take care of these areas. Right? Now, like I said, the developer can decide to hire architects, it can decide to hire engineers, it can decide to hire quantity surveyors, it can decide to hire a contractor, or it can have all those capabilities within its fold. But in this case, we know that the developer has contracted the build out of the site to ADS, and there is there's talk of engineers who have been subcontracted to do work. For example, the Corsav engineering firm has been doing some work, or has been contracted to do some work as structural engineers on the project, although it seems internally MMC has its own engineers, its own architects, and so on. What is the responsibility of the engineers? Well, the architects, for example, they are responsible for the design development, for creating and developing the architectural designs of the project. It includes the drawings, the specifications, the models. They are responsible for regulatory approval, ensuring that designs comply with local zoning laws, building codes, regulations, and assist in obtaining all the necessary permits. The architects have a responsibility to work closely with the engineers and the contractors to ensure that the design is feasible and can be constructed as it was intended to be constructed. They have a project oversight responsibility as well, which requires that they provide oversight during the construction to ensure that the work aligns with the design specifications and the quality standards. There's a client representation there as well. In this case, I don't know who are the architects on this project, but if it was, let's say the architects were an outside firm, they would have a client representation responsibility, looking out for the interests of the developer and the government during the construction process and addressing any design related issues that arise. You have as well the engineers responsible for technical designs now, providing detailed engineering designs, calculations, and specifications for structural, mechanical, electrical, and civil engineering aspects of the project. And they collaborate with architects and contractors to ensure that all the engineering designs integrate effectively within the architectural plans and construction processes. In this case, at the grammar school, you would have had an architectural design, which would in broad include the various buildings on the site. And then you would have had a design for the roof of the auditorium. So that's a structure within the building and within the project, and you would have a structural engineering design for that building. Now, the engineers have a compliance and standards responsibility to ensure that all their designs comply with the relevant codes, with the standards, with the regulations. And they conduct site inspections and assessment during construction, to ensure that the engineering specifications are being adhered to, and there's a problem-solving role in there as well for the engineers addressing any technical issues or challenges that arise during the construction phase. So I'm pointing out all this to indicate the relationships that are operating as this project is in construction. And finally, you have the building contractors that are essentially responsible for the execution of the construction of the project. They manage and execute the actual construction work as per the plans and specifications provided by the architects and engineers. They're not building their own thing. They are building what the architects and engineers have given them with the sign-off of the developer. And they're managing labor on the project, hiring, supervising construction workers and subcontractors, ensuring that they're properly trained and they follow all the safety protocols. They are responsible for sourcing and procuring all the necessary materials and equipment for the construction project based on, of course, the designs. They have a quality assurance responsibility in which the contractors must ensure that all works meet the required quality standards and specifications set forth in the project documents. And added to that, of course, safety and compliance responsibility, which requires the contractor to implement and maintain safety measures on the construction site to protect workers and to protect the public. Finally, there is progress reporting, where the contractors provide regular updates to the developer regarding the status of construction, including any delays or issues that are encountered. So each party in the process has a critical role in the success of the construction project, and effective communication and collaboration among all parties are essential to ensure that the project meets its objectives. There was obviously, in the case of the grammar school, a failure, a process failure somewhere along the line. And I guess the investigation will pay attention to all of that. And it should not be too long now before the government is given the report on what's happening, and hopefully the report will be shared with the people of Dominica, or at least a summary of the report will be shared with the people of Dominica, who are the ultimate stakeholders in this. One thing I want to say is that perhaps the government can use this opportunity to look into whether or not it is the people of Dominica, on whose behalf all this work has been done, are getting value for money on this grammar school project and other projects that are under the watch of this particular developer. We've had our concerns, and much of these concerns have been expressed in terms of value for money and whether we're paying above market price for a lot of the work that we've been hearing about, whether it is for the apartments around the country, whether it is for the health centers that have been built, the community centers, the Margaret Hospital, the grammar school, whatever infrastructure work that has been assigned to MMCE and Anthony Hayden as developer. Perhaps this is an opening for the government to have a look at the value for money aspect of all of these contracts, because we've been concerned that we are not getting value for money. We are paying above market price for a lot of this development in exclusive contracts with MMCE, and then we see a failure of this nature, which suggests that, well, I don't even know what it suggests, because I'm one of those who are prepared to wait on the report of the independent investigators. because, in life, things happen, accidents happen. And fortunately, this one happened in construction before the building was actually handed over to the government. Unfortunately, there was nobody in the area at the time, so there was no casualty or loss of life, and we, the people of Dominica, are very grateful for that. But it is an opportunity to revisit what we're doing in these arrangements with MMC, because we have had complaints not of this nature, but other complaints about the construction and the faultiness of the construction, and what's happening with sewage systems and so on, and what's happening with leaking roofs and so on. So maybe a chance to revisit all of that and see exactly where we are, because we're spending good money on these projects. We're spending enough to be getting the very, very best. All right, and that's as much as I will say on that for now. Maybe you have a thing or two to say. Maybe maybe you want to talk a little bit about that as well, because it's ongoing. It's with us. 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. The overseas line is 305-432-9624. (8:47). This is the hot seat. Good morning.
I should love life, healing, joy, gratitude, courage, and sacrifice. Mr. Linton, blessings in the family, sir.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
I give him thanks. I was not aware that you would be sitting in today, and I was just writing because I heard it on Dominica. Government in 5. I'm coming right back to it. Government in 5.
Government in 5.
And I hear them talking about cannabis again, the same promotion of marijuana. And I'm not saying that because you're there, because I was about to say it with Richie after listening to Government in 5. And it's something that is quite frequent these days. The marijuana industry. Scary, can you please apologize to Mr. Linton for your nasty insults? Then, say he come out with the Colorado, it was smelling marijuana, and come in and tell people about marijuana. Now you give them marijuana to smoke, and now you're promising to create an industry from marijuana. Create an industry. You want people to break out of poverty. Let me not say you're criminal, because it would be personal. So I will not say you're criminal. I'll say these honorable criminals have no limitations. I come into that grammar school, Mr. Linton, but how would you describe, who is that person that's singing that song, Mr. Linton? I want that song on my phone. Friendly me. Who is the artist?
I don't remember. Wasn't that Tasha P?
No, it sounds like a man. It sounds like a man singing the song Friendly Me. I want somebody to describe a friendly me to me. Because I have no friends, I have no enemies, I only have brothers and sisters in the world walking around watching my brothers and sisters. Some of them paro, some of them rich, some of them volley, some of them wicked, some of them evil, but all of them are my brothers and sisters. So I want somebody to give me the real definition of a frenemy. Mr. Linton, if you notice, the roof collapsed from wall to wall. Isn't that so, Mr. Linton?
Yeah.
So there is what they call the column. That's those columns built in the walls. And then you have what they call the beams. That's like the beam is like a column built in the roof or the frame of the building. Every beam is connected to a column. If there were columns and beams, how could the roof collapse from wall to wall? And it has a couple months since they cast the roof. How much? 8 or 10 inches of thick concrete. I am not saying there were, but there are a lot of corruption in this criminal enterprise administration. The Chinese and everybody having a field day. We're watching Chinese building less than a year. The building just falling apart. They're cracking, sewage problem, plumbing system, and all kind of things. And you have let me not say a clown, I was about to say a clown, come in and say, I run things to the ground. To the ground, look at the state of affairs of the country, where you have people unemployed, and you're facilitating foreigners to build every major or engage in every major infrastructural work. And the Chinese are buying roads. They're not building themselves. They have locals building them. But every government project, our tax money, our passport money, grant money, loan money is you giving it to Chinese to run things to the ground. Mr. Linton, there's a lot I would say, but let me not allow my pressure to go too high this morning. Have a blessed day, sir.
Bless yourself. On the question of the Chinese, the Chinese are building some schools right now. One of them at the Goodwill Secondary School, and that's from the pocket of the Chinese. But the Chinese are also engaged at the international airport. They're the main contractor there at the international airport, and they're being paid by Dominica to do that. That's the money from the sale of our passports paying the Chinese company through the developer for its work on the international airport, and that's quite a bit of money. Also, you've had Chinese firms that have been involved, contracted by MMC to do apartment buildings and to do the health centers, some of the health centers and the community centers and so on. They've been around working, making money from the Dominica passport revenue pot, so to speak. Yeah. All right. So, well, hopefully we will get that independent report from the engineers, the engineering firm, which is coming in from overseas. I'm told maybe Trinidad, or probably is already here, according to what we heard from the acting Prime Minister last week. The Prime Minister will be at a press conference this morning, and so you probably will hear a little more about that. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Linton. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Hold on a second. My little jukebox there, it want to fly up on you.
Yeah, your little jukebox there.
So Linton, with that grammar school scenario there, if things that happen here, Vitivai and now, especially under the government and the person they have in charge of all the Dominica money, MMC, Anthony Hayden, whatever the hell is his name or whoever he is. If what you call them? I had it to say, but it's like, the people here that you have to bring your documents to planning. Planning had any say on that? The planning give the approval for the construction of the grammar school and the architectural design of it. Do you know anything about that?
I know that planning permission would be required. Whether it was sought and obtained, I do not know.
Wow. Because I'm here in the opposite. I'm here in plan. What they wanted to give to planning, or what they give to planning, did not meet planning approval. To me, something so I heard. If I'm wrong, please somebody correct me. And if that is so, planning did not give the approval for the kind of planning that was there. Something wrong somewhere. And the part that collapsed is not the only part. If you stand up in the botanical garden, I stood on the road and I took the picture. But if you stand up in the botanical gardens close to the, the pavilion, and you look towards your end of the other building that is almost in completion, you look at the top of it, how it's eroding already. It is in disastrous condition, so they might have to dig up the whole dam, upper that grammar school to cure that area there. But in time that there's plenty bad work, and our passport money that's going down the drain, one man is holding the wealth of our country. A foreign Arab, there is from Iran or Iraq.
Iran or Iraq? I don't know. I'm not sure.
You know where that man come from?
Well, he's from the other side of the world. I don't know exactly whether he's come from Lebanon or wherever. I don't know.
We're deep doo-doo in our country. When I look in there, the Grenadian Prime Minister came down here and bringing Mr. Boy stupidity. And when you look in the development of Grenada, it's a far cry from what is happening in Dominica. When that Grenadian Prime Minister landed at our international airport in Dominica, he maybe had a big laugh, driving through the roads of Dominica and maybe the hotel or wherever he had to sleep in. Yeah, they did that same Prime Minister Grenada had that the richest black billionaires in Africa in his country and advising him and how to go about doing things in his country to get more development and more tourists and everything in his country. I say, what a shame. Why we have one man giving our passport money to Dominicans. Wake up, Monsieur, and smell the coffee. No, we serious deep shit in our country. We have our passport given to one man to handle our money. And looking at Guyana using their oil money to develop their country in housing, road, and all everything for their people. And we use our own to buy people for vote. I build an apartment for you. I can charge you $200, $300 a month, even if it's for the upkeep of the place. I saw a lot of the people that are the apartments there can afford to pay at least $500 or $300 or $200. Some you might have to give to them for free because they cannot do better. But there are a lot of the people in the apartments that can pay free $500 and $200 a month when you're giving it to them to live for free, just to buy them for a vote. Magwe, sir. Have a blessed morning. Bye-bye.
Have a blessed morning yourself. It is 8:57. Nine a.m. is the morning time, and press conference by the Honorable Prime Minister to be carried live on this service from 11 o'clock this morning.
June month end to the first week in July. All roads lead to Scott's Head for the grand Kashaku Reunion Festival, beginning Friday, June 27th, with sounds of praise to the Most High, lively cultural performances, followed by Swadli Swar, a night of powerful, topical, juicy history with Dr. Lennox Honeychurch, followed by the Super Block finale. Saturday 20th, Saki Snapukaput in spectacular carnival style, followed by Dr. Mika Lavadi and Dropping. Sunday 30th, church service, then village festival with the Unstoppable Person Serenade. Tuesday, July 1st, trip to Kalinago Territory. Wednesday, July 2nd, the Dog Blue and Big Money Bingo. Tuesday, July 3rd, beach party and talent night with special guest Franklin Moses. Friday, July 4th, grand dinner and dance. Saturday, 5th, the highly anticipated return of Connect Online with Midnight Group. Sunday, July 6th, Super Blacko. Extra code coupon is only $3 for $10. Raffle to include a large screen, smart television, and multiple smart phone devices. Don't miss the Scott's Head Kashaku Reunion. Good month into the first week of July. Sponsored by Belfast Estate, Cobley Bear, DNO, Q95, and Creole Heartbeats. Look at people.
Are you tired of having the same boring breakfast every morning? Well, Monflake Oats is the healthy and perfect solution just for you. Make your breakfast exciting by adding Monflakes to your pancakes, parfait, or even milkshake. Monflake can be found in different sizes and available in granola, such as Caribbean or Hawaiian. Stop worrying about what to prepare for your breakfast, dessert, snack, or even dinner. Monflake is the best addition to your meal. Grab yourself a bag today.
Locally distributed by Fine Foods Inc. and available island-wide.
Introducing the new Caribbean paint from Do It Center. Durant paint and wall covering from Do It Best Quality Paint, giving you the same great interior and exterior quality, the same color matching technology, at an incredible price. Available in black, satin, and semi-gloss. Visit us on Google Road or call our paint department at 255-6896. Do It Center, your partner in home improvements.
Cause I'm on my way.
KFC delivery is here. Just place your order at www.kfcdominican.com, Facebook or WhatsApp at 614-2633 and your order will be delivered to you. KFC, it's good.
Cause I'm on my way.
Hassle-free loans for your every need. Cards have you covered, but believe. Cards ready cash, it's for everyone. Not to worry, fast approval. Hurry up and come. We got it all. We on the go. Cards ready cash, you already know. We got it all. We on the go. Cards ready cash, always ready when you're ready. Let's go.
Cards ready cash, ready when you are.
If you know your favorite store, dial it now. 612-1253. That's Mega. You can rely on Mega for some real deals on name brand clothing and electronics. High quality, low price. We are a wholesale and retail store located in Calabishi, right on the main road. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram at Mega Deals Dominica. Like our page. Check out our stuff. Call us. Visit us. Would appreciate that. Come try it on. Love it. Buy it at Mega Deals. Your one and only online and brick and mortar store. Mega Deals is also on wheels. We make it convenient for your shopping. We deliver straight to your door. Email us at info@megadealsda.com. Rely on Mega Deals for some real deals.
I see Colo in shopping for farming supplies. So I ask him, what are you doing inside Bloombox? You have a farm? He tell me, that's how it has sort. I've been married 37 years. Look at my money farm. He say, no, not woman. Like land for farming crops. And then you understand, Bloombox is the most affordable on island. Knapsacks starting at only $57.71. Elsewhere, it's $300 plus. Cutlass seeds, seeding trays, nursery pots, sales of potting mix, all at way better prices than anywhere else. Fertilizers, 3-in-1 multi-tool, and so much more. Located on Federation Drive, Good Goodwill. Second property on the right after the Valley Link Road and on the corner of Drury Lane and Hanover Street in Rosal. Bloombox. Let's bloom together.
In just a few moments, we head to the United States of America. We're going to go to Wisconsin, actually, join up with Mr. Matt Peltier there. He's going to do a little tete-a-tete, little conversation with Jeff Bellott, who is the chairperson of the Scott Said Reunion Committee. We're going to be talking about that reunion, which is starting on the 26th this week. That will be in a couple of days. That's today is the 20. Yeah, Thursday. The reunion starting in Scottsdale, Sophia on area there down there in this week from the 26th.
We are in of course, the U.S. state of Wisconsin, and we're here because, of course, it's a few days away from the big reunion there in Scottsdale everybody's talking about, and one of the main organizers, I will say, like the chief executive officer of the reunion committee, is here with me, Jeff Bellott, of course, and just a few days away, the excitement is building. I'm here with Jeff to talk about what's going on for the next few days. I think it's from the 26th to the 4th of July. So Jeff, good day to you. How you doing? I'm going good, man. I'm fast making the trip to good old Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right, okay. Well, I'm happy to be here, and of course, feeling on your hospitality. I'm happy to be here. But tell us, Jeff. I know you in the next few days you'll be back in Dominica, where you love. Of course, we know you're from Scottsdale. You're a village organizer. You're an activist in your community. And I know you planned this with a few other members from your community. Jeff, what is really going on? Tell us about the reunion, Scottsdale reunion. Yeah, so the reunion, I'm the chairman of the committee, actually, the Scotts Reunion Committee. Yeah. So we get, the different organizations of Scottsdale area, like the different groups and the council and all the people involved. So we have this committee, people from Soufriere, Scottsdale, and Ghana, part of it. Mm-hmm. And then that big reunion actually started Friday, June 27th, God's willing, with opening night with songs of praise. We're going to have the Soufriere Scottsdale Choir. We're going to have live cultural performances. And also, we're going to have a big history night by Dr. Lennox Honeychurch. Tell us about the Soufriere Scottsdale area. Then this Saturday, we are going, and then actually after Dr. Lennox Honeychurch, we'll be having a nice fish lime night in Scottsdale with a blocko, with a DJ from the UK who's going to be doing that. Then the Saturday, we're going to be having this Belle Mache to Galion. That would be a Belle Mache up to Galion, where we go to Galion and visit the people of Galion. Then in the evening of that would be Saturday 20th, we'll be having Sakis Laboka with band Jump Up in Scottsdale. It's Carnival in June in Scottsdale, so everybody to come to that. And then that will follow by, of course, Dr. Miguel Labadie and DJ with music. The whole idea about the reunion is to bring people together. We wanted to build a bus stop, and then we were able to secure some funds to put things in place to make this reunion possible. And then the bus stop actually is going up and is building very well. And we're also doing some massive cleanup. We have people like Jungle Bay and Bud helping us with that. And anybody that's there at Jungle Bay during the time of the reunion, they get 50% off just for staying there. And then we also have some domino competitions, and we'll have some big money bingo, as Franklin Moses said.
We have a talent night where Frankie Moses is going to be the main guest, and then he will be giving us some jokes on there. And then also we'll be having a big dinner and dance here July 4th. It's only $100. That's to raise funds towards development in Scott said. And then Saturday, July.
What will be the dance there?
The dinner and dance will be taking place at the Suffolk Guest House. We are very grateful for Suffolk Guest House making this place available for us. So we'll be having the big dinner and dance there. Then the Saturday is the return of the big Cornell old school style, where we'll be having live Midnight Groovers performing. That will be Saturday, July 5th. Midnight Groovers in Scottsdale, Cornell. And then before Midnight Groovers performance, we're having a big village cleanup everywhere in Scottsdale, all the hamlets, Budgavin, Abagoen, Cass, Canal, Savin, everywhere will be cleaning and
it's a big community.
Scottsdale has quite a bit of hamlets. You got Budgavin, you got Abagoen, you got Cass, you've got Savin, Lower Savin, Upper Savin, you got Canal, and you got Downtown and Frenchtown. So, and also going up here. So you got quite a bit of hamlets in there. Unfortunately, our population is going down, but it's one of those areas that have quite a bit of different hamlets in that area.
But tell me, when was the idea born? Who thought about this great, idea? So we need a Scottsdale reunion. Are the people driven about?
Yeah, we have a lot of difficulties in Scottsdale right now with division with politics. And some other people, have been depressed. Some folks have been actually pressed for freedom, so to speak, in a sense. When I say freedom, I mean to be able to be free, to be able to do what they want. And it has been this constant fight of, certain group of people feel the only one could do things. But the reunion really started with a few of us like, Irvin Labadie, Michael Jr. Nicholas, Ivan Nicholas, myself. We were talking about doing something for Scottsdale. We need to plant trees. Then we realized we don't have a bus stop since Hurricane Maria. We haven't have a bus stop. So we were raising funds to build a bus stop. And that's where the whole idea come. And we're going to do a small community thing, but it just expanded. And then we are grateful how big it is, how good it is. And, we eventually get different groups, organizations come on board. So we are very grateful for that, especially our big sponsor, Belfast Kubudi. They're the main sponsor, sponsoring most of the events for that. And, organizations like We Church and the big station Q, kudos to Q. They were the first who actually come forward and said, we want to work with you for the reunion. And they have been giving us some very nice ad for free. So we really want to big up you for that. And then that really helped us very well. And then that's kind of how we started. And we want to build mini libraries for the community, focus on education and the elderly who have left behind. We want to remember them and make people realize everybody working together as one. So that's the whole idea of this reunion. And that's why on Sunday, July 6th, we have an award ceremony where we'll be recognizing people like Lucinda John Lewis for his contribution for spiritual, and Scott said, Ms. Vanya Martin, who taught for a long time in Scott said, Ms. Adelina Detouche, who have done tremendous work as community activists and also in education. And we'll also recognize the man Tempo for conch shell blowing and fishermen, outstanding fishermen. Mr. Hazel Paquette, who also cricketer, also one time was captain for the Dominican national team, and then also Cecil Tavernier. We know Cecil is from Soufriere, but Cecil has done such great work, especially since after Maria, like on his own. And, there's still a bypassing in the Gallet where the road messed up from the Hurricane Maria. Cecil was the one who did this on his own and to help. So, we want people to realize the work they've done. We want to recognize them and be grateful for the work they've done. So we'll be having live cultural performance on that day. We'll be having the official opening of the bus stop on that day. And at the end, we woke everybody and we're grateful that the power was able to make some funds available towards the bus stop, which we welcome. And we always tell people, we invite everybody who come, who don't come to come. The main idea is to do this reunion to get people back together as discussed as we all once know.
But tell me, what's the response out there as it relates to the call by guys like you to come home for this reunion?
It's getting pretty good. We're getting a lot of good response. The call really is but think about all these people from Scottsdale, who have done well. If everybody can give something back to Scottsdale, We don't really have to depend on government to do anything for us. And I think in Dominica, we sometimes depends too much on other people to do things for us. If all of us who have done well, no matter what you have done, even if you have a job, that is considered being done well, because a lot of people wish they had a job. And if you can give back even $100 to build something in Scottsdale, whether it's a bench, whether it's a cleanup, that is the whole idea of getting people back. So the response has been very good. We have a GoFundMe page. People have been making contributions to that. We want to thank them. So if everybody continue to do that, I think the cause is worth it. And we just have to continue to work together to get this done.
But where would you want to see Scottsdale say in the near future?
I really would like to see Scottsdale the place to be for tourism. Scottsdale the place to be, like, if you're looking for something to do a lime on the weekend, that's really our goal, to see Scottsdale be that vibrant village it once was in the 80s and 90s. I think one of the things that can happen, let's say on a Friday afternoon, evening, people can come and fish lime in Scottsdale. You can come out and have a drink or, have some fish, and just lime in Scottsdale, I also like to see more art and crafts. I know like Steph's Art and Craft, like David Tushi doing a good job in trying to even hire some of the people to do some of those art crafts, and we have restaurants in the area. So our dream for Scottsdale is to make Scottsdale this vibrant village, where to go on the weekend, what to do, what a place to go and see. Come to Scottsdale, there will always be fish available, friendly people waiting to hear you, and also a lot of places, people have the places for rent, where people can spend the night in local tourism. So we believe Scottsdale can be the #1 local tourism community in Dominica for people who want a quick getaway, quick hangout for the weekend or for the day or night.
Will we see a return of the Concon anytime soon?
I hope so. I know there was an attempt to bring it back, and I don't know what happened. The Reunion Committee really would like to work with the Village Council and the members of Parliament, whoever want to have control of it, of this corner thing. And the goal is to bring this corner back, not a two-show, two-film thing, but every month, and to just don't make it like a dancing, drinking thing, but a tourism thing, to bring people to the community, know about the community, do tours, like different swimming races and aqua activities, like people can even take tours around the peninsula. And Scott said, go whale watching and all of that. So this is the whole idea we in the Remaining Committee have. We hope we can get everybody on board to do that, to make this corner what it was before.
All right, I want to wish you the best of luck, of course, with that reunion. And I hope everybody come on board to give you the support that you need.
All right, we thank you very much. And thanks to Q again.
All right, thank you very much.
Matt Peltier talking with Jeff Bellot in Wisconsin, USA, about the upcoming Scott's Head reunion. 9:17 is the morning time.
If you know quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums. Belfast Estate Limited, over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course the Sunblast juices, Thomas Snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in
The
Dominica.
time check is brought to you compliments Blast Bistro. Good food, good vibes, located on the 3rd floor of the Dominica National Lottery Building.
Mouvement Créole Associé. Tout le monde créole pour attention. Comité pour études créole Dominique. Et puis Radio QFM qui a présenté Mouvement Créole.
Tous les mardis soirs, entre 6h après-midi. Information, blague, interview, l'histoire, proverbe, discussion, reportage, apprendre à parler et puis écrit créole. Lien avec ton peuple créole. Bon musique créole. Mouvement créole. À nous faire un rendez-vous, messieurs, mesdames, tous les mardis soirs. Tu es qu'elle frappé avec bon power créole. Sans ça participer, qui est nous rapidement là? Mouvement créole à seconde station QFM. Voici avec nous tous les mardis soirs 6h pour Mouvement créole. Matchez ça.
It's in the feeling and how we talk. It's in the meaning and how us spark. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are. Get rid of all that keeps bumping. Together going strong. No matter what we keep things going. Before we will go home. It's up in the sky. Celebrate and come let your rhythm flow.
Going green isn't always easy, especially when options are limited. But at ESA Trading Limited, we're changing that just for you. We're proud to offer sustainable solutions that help you make a real impact, one small step at a time. Say goodbye to styrofoam and hello to our compostable clamshells, trays, and baggers products, the perfect eco-friendly upgrade for your takeout packaging. Because great food deserves a great container, and ours are sturdy, stylish, and earth-friendly. We've got it all. Clamshell bowls and leaves, cake plates, corks, round containers, forks, spoons, even free compartment meal boxes, all made from renewable materials like wheat straw, sugarcane baggers, and PLA. Our compostable containers break down in commercial composting facilities, helping reduce waste while keeping your food fresh and your conscience clear. Join the movement. Make the switch. Visit us today at Kennedy Avenue and the Bayfront for all your biodegradable packaging needs. At ESA Trading Limited, we're making a difference for you and the planet.
9:21. We hope you are happy, comfortable, wherever you are. It's Monday today in Dominica and around the world. The 23rd day of June in the year 2025. We thank you very much for joining us. And we heard on Government in 5 this morning that of the plans for the establishment of a marijuana industry. And someone called earlier, I think it was Blessings when he was speaking with us earlier, was talking about what happened back 6 years ago when I went to Colorado and looked at marijuana establishments there and thought that, there was some page that we could take from that book in the U.S. and start serious production of marijuana for the medical marijuana industry that was growing by leaps and bounds. So in just a moment, we'll listen again to what was said this morning on Government in 5, what was reported by the press secretary, and then we'll talk a little bit about that.
AutoTrade is introducing our very own mobile app.
Yes, the Auto Trade app is here. From scheduling your service appointments, request financing, checking our vehicle and parts inventory, to receiving personalized coupons and sales specials. Life is so much easier with the new Auto Trade app. Download the Auto Trade app from the Play Store or App Store today. Call us at 255-6800. Auto Trade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship.
Do It Center shoppers, we have exciting news. Your favorite home improvement destination just got a major upgrade. Get ready to experience the all-new Do It Center online store. Fresh look, same great products, and super user-friendly. Find what you're looking for in a snap. Need assistance? We've got you covered. Connect with our live chat agents for real-time assistance. But that's not all. Introducing the convenience of seamless online payments with reliable delivery service straight to your door. Shopping for quality products has never been this easy. Don't miss out. Visit store.doitcenterdominica.com and experience the new era of our online shopping. Do It Center, your partner in home improvement.
Ooh, oh, KFC. Ooh, oh, KFC. Looking for some place to go. Meals for soul. KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be. Made for you and me. KFC. KFC. It's finger licking good.
Nine 26 is the morning time. Some years ago, Pat Aaron wrote a song. It was presented in competition by Daddy Chess. I think Daddy Chess won the competition the year he sang that song. Let us take a moment and ponder, my sisters and brothers. Are we changing course or going down the same road again? Let us consider openly the past 25 years or 30, the progress we've lost playing political games. Yeah, so we do lose progress playing political games. I'm minded of that by the observations made this morning by Blessings to the announcement that the government is moving ahead with the establishment of medical marijuana industry. It would seem, but he was making the observation that's after so many years saying of ridiculing me for trying to put the matter on the front burner, and I wasn't really putting it on the front burner. It was already supposed to be on the front burner of Dominica through the CARICOM, the work that had been done at the level of CARICOM. But for some reason, we were dragging our feet, and we continued to drag our feet. And when I was making those observations and talking in Parliament about the medical marijuana industry and what that could do for Dominica with marijuana as a cash crop, we something we could grow. We had shown through the years. I mean, it's clear that we can grow good marijuana in Dominica in good quantities and so on, and we could, in fact, find a good place for our product in the global marketplace, and we would have the good sense of not just exporting raw materials, but of doing some development, value added manufacturing and so on of skincare and other products for the wellness market around the world. That would be good for us. We had demonstrated our capability to make soaps and skincare products as well as anybody else around the world through Dominica Coconut Products and the Refresh Company so many years ago, and this was an opportunity for us. But what the government said at the time 6 years ago was that there was no economic benefit to be derived from the marijuana industry. The prime minister was clear about that, and to see years later there is something in it after all, and it is being pursued. I welcome that. I only regret the amount of time we've lost, because in that 6 years we could have accomplished much, and there could have been much economic benefit coming to the people of Dominica from moving earlier. We have waited, and we have allowed other islands in the Caribbean not as blessed as us in terms of arable, fertile land to plant the product in huge quantities. And we have allowed ourselves to slip behind them in preparing for the opportunity that could be taken advantage of. So that's just unfortunate, but like we say, that is how we roll in Dominica, and I just hope that a time comes when we roll differently. And maybe with this now, even 6 years later, it's an indication that we are rolling differently, and we are doing what's best, putting the politics aside. At the end of the day, I mean, all these things were said about Lennox Linton. He come back looking as though so one of the people in, I think it was Reginald Australia, look as though I come out and smoke a spliff, or all sorts of things were said. For what? And that got us where? Where did that get us? Just playing these games. It comes from one side of the political divide. It's not good because it didn't come from the right side. So we pass up on it. We let it slide, and we ridicule, and we try to score political points. Years later, we realize, hey, okay, what did we do there? That did nothing for us. Let's try and see what we can do. And I'm happy that they're doing that. It's late, but let's try and see if we catch up. 9:30 is the morning time. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Linton.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good.
You see, when there's something you cannot do and somebody can do it, they used to say before, jealousy, not jealousy, jealousy. And right now, they come back and eat it. It is good now. But it's good ideas we gave them, but it is good now, because they could not have done it at the beginning. They could not have seen it as a foresight. I'm listening.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. It's just all the talk about working together is great. All the talk about letting all the ideas contend is great, but we have to be a little more sincere in our purpose than we have been to allow much of that to happen. There are people who have said to me through the years, stop giving the government ideas or stop giving the ruling party ideas. They, just when you guys get there, you will do what needs to be done, and so on and so on. I've never been one for that. What is good for the country, I never mind talking about it. What's good for Dominica, that needs to happen. It doesn't have to wait on me or anybody else to get into government. If the government can get it done for the good of the people, because that's what we're all about. Let's get things done for the advancement of civilization in Dominica, for the improvement of the quality of life for people, and to have our people thrive, as opposed to being in this never-ending struggle to survive. Whatever can be done, whatever ideas we can come up with, in that regard, we should be free to share them, and let even if we have to help with implementation, let's do that. This is for God, for country. Good morning.
Yeah, it's just me again, Mr. Linton. All what you're saying there is good, Mr. Linton. I agree. But that is not just hypocrisy. That's the level of abuse and trickery. Our life is not a game of chess. For us to be used as pawns in a game of chess, Mr. Linton. When Skerritt and them playing that dirty little political game by threatening people, even ostrich say to disappear you, just go with you. Tony Astafans and Roosevelt Skerritt committed a crime against Roosevelt Skerritt. Yes, Tony Astafans and Roosevelt Skerritt, and pin it on Mr. Lincoln. And had police investigating you, come harass you. These are not games, my brother. You are provoking the people to do things or invoke things they never imagined when you keep provoking them like that. So I am just saying, my brother, these are not games and things where you win political points at the expense of the lives of the people. Mr. Lincoln, you notice there is a whole session of suicide and crime and murder. My brethren, frustration contributes to those things there. Hopelessness, unemployment, poverty, brokenness. So these criminals are talking now, Mr. Lincoln. I don't think they're going to do anything. They realize they have hit rock bottom, and their own supporters beginning to question their better judgment and saying, come on, these guys are joking. So they complain games again, marijuana and thing, and talk about this. They're going to do this, they're going to do that. These are just games. Just quickly, the whole meeting of the OECS, Mr. Lincoln, Skerritt say, what's the word he used? Like you're going to give up some of your sovereignty, your power. What's the word again?
Cede some authority to the center, I think I heard him say.
What's the word?
Cede some authority to the center. Pass.
The word is almost like conceding, but the word is cede.
Yeah. Pass some authority to the center, yeah.
So these criminals regionally, Mr. Lincoln, the same game, now to not come to make it as easy as possible with the whole OECS unity and all of that. Now they come in with all kind of machinations. Oh, we would have to cede some of our authority, and look, we would have to go to the courts, to the parliament, to amend laws and to play games. They are making things sound like how they call it, Mr. Lincoln, it's rocketing, like you're looking to build a rocket to go to space, so you have to go
rocket science.
Rocket, that's the term I'm looking for there. It's rocket science, just to come together. Did Europe do all of that for them to have created the European Union? Maybe a little here and there, but it was not about talking, it was about acting. And we come with the idea before the Europeans. If they did, we never hear about it. When we start to hear about the European Union in a matter of 2-3 years, the European Union was formed. Britain abstained. How they call it? Britain say, okay, the crown and all of that, and the king and all of that. But these little Caribbean leaders, Mr. Lincoln, St. Lucia, Antigua, Grenada, those little things, Dominica, these guys are so criminally minded. The system that exists now is quite conducive, quite accommodating. They cannot imagine making any changes to that is going to put them at a disadvantage. So there is nothing to do about ceding some of your authority or some of your power. Yes, Skerritt say about all of us think is a continent we are governing over. You heard that, Mr. Lincoln?
Yeah.
How did he conclude all of us? Why did he not say, in my position where I am there, I feel I'm governing over a continent? To go and try to mix up with little Caribbean leaders, that is a voluntary relegation, So he put all of us. But he's right. He's right. Because all of them are just gangsters, thieves, criminals, and that's how they operate within the original structure. My apologies if I sound too harsh, Mr. Linton, but usually I learned something from one person.
You sound very harsh. You sound very harsh. The question in your mind should be whether the harshness is justifiable in the circumstances.
No, but in the circumstances, I convince myself they are, but I learned something from somebody already. I was that way. We must call things by their correct names, and I can never forget. Can you remember? I wonder who taught that to me. I asked Matt Pelte. Maybe it's Matt. Have a blessed day, sir.
Have a blessed day yourself. But listen, on this question of the OECS and CARICOM and so on, the Prime Minister of Dominica is at the OECS Authority meeting in St. Vincent, and there is a concern. There's a concern among the current leadership in the OECS, the political leadership, the prime ministers and so on, that they don't seem to be getting anywhere with CARICOM, especially insofar as it concerns the single market and economy and so on. And it's become very frustrating. So to the point where they've started asking themselves whether, well, I think the idea came from St. Vincent Prime Minister, whether they shouldn't just break away from CARICOM, have their OECS, tighten it, strengthen it, widen it, deepen it, and have bilateral arrangements with the big countries of CARICOM and see how they move on from there. Good morning.
Good morning, Professor Leonard Clinton.
My brother, it's a long time. How are you doing?
Actually, it's delightful to have you back and to hear your voice in the public domain. I appreciate that very much.
Always good to hear you. Always good to hear you, bro.
I tell you, there are several stars in the sky, but you're my shining star. So I just wanted to know.
You're very kind. You're very kind.
You know, you've been raising that just as before you raised the issue of OECS and CARICOM. Our organization is as strong as the people. An organization doesn't exist in an abstract world. It is as strong and vibrant and productive as the people. If you have corrupt people that are self-seeking and they're not interested in developing outside of themselves, you cannot have a strong organization, whether it's CARICOM, OECS, the British English, EU, is the people that make the thing work. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So to change to say that CARICOM is not working, because the members of CARICOM are ineffective, they're selfish, and the OECS is a subset of the CARICOM. Mm-hmm. It's the same people that in CARICOM that like working with OECS. You know, I don't think breaking away from CARICOM is necessarily going to make things better. If you have good people that are interested in developing others, in developing their country, you'll have a better organization. So I heard a prime minister unilaterally declaring that he would cede sovereignty of the country, the people, to some aspects of our sovereignty to the OECS. That statement was made sometime recently by a person who feels that he owns something they call Dominica, and he can go and make unilateral decisions on the status of the people of Dominica without first having a consultation with them, first determining what extent. First of all, I want to know to what extent he intends to cede sovereignty. What aspect of our sovereignty? Does he want to have a president from the OECS rather than one from Dominica?
I was thinking as I was listening, it would have something to do with the OECS Assembly as a parliamentary body for the grouping being able to pass laws that would have an effect that would take effect in the member territories. What laws I don't know, or what kind of laws, or whether there would still be a lawmaking under the new model. There'd still be a lawmaking responsibility with the individual parliaments, whether they would cede that lawmaking authority to the OECS Parliament, in which they would have membership. You see, these are the kinds of things that have to be discussed, so we understand what is being ceded, what exactly is being ceded, and for what purpose. Because in his mind, I think if I understood him correctly, it's more effectiveness, having more effectiveness for the integration grouping called the OECS.
Well, I find that a very ironic position from a person who has absolutely no respect for the rule of law. So whether the laws are passed by OECS or any other body, you yourself must have respect for the laws of the country. Demonstrate that you are interested in abiding according to our constitution. So I think there's a preamble statement talking about the rule of law. Mm-hmm. The people remain and institutions remain free only when we abide by, among other things, by the rule of law. Our Prime Minister has demonstrated that he has a little respect for the rule of law. So is he going to be a better respecter of the laws if they're passed by the OECS? I'm just asking a question because he hasn't indicated to us in Dominica that laws matter. So all these things are like, I see see a person who's like on a stage at Dubna in everything. I'm not talking about necessarily, I'm speaking hypothetically, according to Dr. Andrew, hypothetically. I see this guy as a man on a stage in Dubna, his hands up in the air, power, wealth, and might. And he dances on that stage, talking things and making decisions and saying things for the public to see that he has some form of relevance and importance. And I still go back to the story that the prime minister, a good leader is a man who respects his own word. If you cannot respect and abide by your word, you cannot abide by the word of anybody else, and nobody should respect you. The prime minister said, in his own words, that at the end of April, he will be leaving power because they're giving him a constitutional mandate to retire from the position. And he has gone into thin air. The prime minister said that after about 2 years, he lives in his own house because they want to throw him out of his house, and he poor, and he's sharing another place to stay, so he's going to get the 70,000 for only 2 years. I mean, that's just two of the things that tell me when he goes on the stage on the OECS and wherever, no matter what laws are passed, no matter how they dance and jump about it, if you cannot abide by your word, if you cannot respect your own words, if you cannot abide by the rule of law in your country, you think you're going to abide by the rule of law anywhere? In any event, I think the only thing that the Prime Minister should be saying, I need to leave. I need to feed myself to whatever else and leave Dominica in peace. Because, I mean, how on earth can we trust our Prime Minister? And to make those statements, you don't have the conversations, as you say, you have to distill this thing. Talk to the people. Because Dominica belongs to the people of Dominica. So if you're going to make a statement, think it through before you go and say, because we still have difficulty as you trying to understand exactly what's in his mind. But it shouldn't just reside in his mind. He's serving the people. And whatever he says or does should reflect the wishes and desires of the people. That is your person who respects the rule of law. I want to thank you for listening to me. And I really am happy that you're back. And
I want to thank you for sharing this morning.
My staff.
All right.
All right. Thank you, brother.
God bless you, bro. And all the people of Laku Setlang, in Dominica. Lockett Sebastian, good morning, bro. Trust that everything is okay. Everything is everything. It's not been very easy for you past couple of weeks, over the past month or so, but things are looking good. Things are looking better. God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. All right? God bless you, bro. Mr. Andy Rodney, sir, good morning to you. I trust that everything is okay. Yeah. Yep. All right. So on this OECS integration thing and the conversations that they were having, remember where they're having the conversation? They're having the conversation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The occasion was a meeting of the OECS authority and a meeting the day before of the OECS assembly. And in the OECS assembly, you have some government ministers and you have some members from the opposition in each territory meeting and talking in a sort of parliament kind of setting. I think maybe coming out of there was the concern, well, what is the necessity of this? What is this OECS assembly doing? What is it accomplishing? What laws is it making, or can it make that will have the effect that will take effect automatically, or just take effect in the member territories? Is it harmonized legislation, or what are they going to do? Because I think in the back of the minds of these leaders is greater effectiveness for the integration grouping in terms of the things that can be done together. They say we are stronger together and we are more effective working together. So the question is, how do you move from somewhere inside there is the question. How do you move from what you have right now to a political union of the OECS countries? And are the people of the OECS interested in that at all? So it's a conversation that has to take place. Do the people of the OECS, 6 islands of the OECS, want to come together in a political union so they effectively function as one state? Or do they want to continue what they're doing right now with all of its shortcomings and just keep things as they are? But there seems to be some level of frustration creeping in to the leadership, the leaders, the current crop of political leaders, as to how far this integration grouping can go without movement into a political union. All right, so that's where that is. All right. Tell you what, yeah, but if you want to call us here, of course, you know the numbers. They're 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097. We have 616-4257 as well, and the overseas line is 432-9624. Someone on the telephone. Good morning.
Yes, someone's on the telephone with me again. So the tell I said, I'd like to tell you, I had to sleep with a heavy heart. When I sat down there last night and I looking at Bukufaso.
You're looking at what?
Where Abraham is from. What you call it? Bukufaso?
Burkina Faso.
Okay, whatever. I'm looking at what the man trying to do, that 35-year-old man. From the time he took office and say he don't want his country to be what it was when the other people had it. The man buying equipment, he bought equipment and trained over 400 young men to operate this equipment to build road in their country, because since after independence, only 3,000 or 300 kilometers of road was paved in that country. And that man said, no, we cannot live like that. And the man doing all what he can to develop his country, building factories, making their own milk, producing their own milk, making milk powder, yogurt, making all kind of things in their country. This short while he come there, you know that men that's sleeping on the street to protect that man, Abraham, because they don't want anything to have all where you pass there. They're not getting a pay for that. They're doing that for nothing because the love they have for that man, because they still and the young man mean well for the country. And they will sleep out on the street for anything they hear, for them to be on their guard, just to protect that man. And we in a country where we have our passport money, Papa Bontier, it's been given out to a foreigner to make himself and his friends feel good. Yo.
You're there? You with us?
Hold on a while.
Yeah, she has a little distraction there, Miss Lavinia Edwards. So let's see if we can. Yeah, okay. You're back with us now.
Yes, I'm back with you.
Okay.
And you're seeing what's going on in the country. Our money from the time you sing with Salintan. Okay, I'll call you back.
All right, she's going to tend to something else. Of course, she's always welcome. I heard this. I heard this piece. Picked it up. Somebody sent it to me last week. I think it was. It's some concern that is being expressed with what's happening in the Caribbean with the aging population I found it very interesting indeed, and I'm going to share it with you, and especially if you are 60 and over, or getting there, you may find this very interesting. All right, and, yeah, listen up.
Across the Caribbean, another storm is coming, but there's no name for this one. No warning system, no shelter plan. It doesn't rip through roofs. It breaks down family. It stretches hospitals. And it leaves elders behind. The Caribbean is graying faster than we realize. By 2050, over 1 in 4 people in this region will be age 60 or older. In countries like Barbados and St. Lucia, that number will be even higher. But here's the thing. We aren't ready. Not our health systems, not our pension plans, not our communities, not even our mindset. This isn't just about growing old. It's about what happens to all of us when we ignore the generation that came before. The silver shift has begun. Across the English-speaking Caribbean, from Antigua and Barbuda to Jamaica, from the Bahamas to Trinidad and Tobago, the numbers are staggering. In 2000, only 10% of the population was aged 60 and over. By 2015, it was 14%. By 2050, that number could climb to 25%. In Barbados, it could reach 31%. In St. Lucia, over 32%. This is happening faster than it did in Europe or North America, and with far fewer resources. Jamaica, which we have already explored in depth, is part of this trend. But this is a regional emergency, affecting all 20 full and associate CARICOM member states. And it's not just about more older people, it's about fewer younger ones. Fertility rates are dropping below replacement levels. Life expectancy is rising, and the base of our population pyramid is shrinking. The result? A top-heavy population, where elders outnumber the children. A hidden health crisis. But living longer doesn't mean living well. What is the leading cause of illness and death among older adults in the Caribbean? Non-communicable diseases, hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, stroke, and dementia. Up to 71% of Caribbean seniors have at least one chronic illness, and many suffer from multiple. But our healthcare systems weren't built for this. Most still focus on emergency care, not long-term support. In rural areas, clinics are few, doctors are scarce, and many older adults simply can't afford medication, tests, or transport. Add to that a massive brain drain, our best nurses and doctors migrating for better pay, and you have a ticking time bomb. The economic burden we're not ready for. Aging doesn't just impact health, it hits the economy hard. As more people retire, the old age dependency ratio goes up. That means fewer workers supporting more pensioners. In 10 Caribbean countries, the working age population is already declining. In others, it's flatlining. But pensions, most systems are built for a time when people didn't live so long. In places like Guyana, St. Vincent, and Belize, the pension coverage is patchy. Many older adults worked in informal jobs and never contributed to national schemes. Others contributed for decades, but now receive payments too small to survive on. And while some try to keep working, ageism, health issues, and shrinking job markets shut them out. We are entering a future where more and more Caribbean elders will be old, sick, and broke. The forgotten generation. And then comes the silence. Many seniors are left to live alone, isolated, invisible.
Loneliness is real and painful. It leads to depression. It worsens physical illness. It shortens lives. And then there's elder abuse, often hidden, often committed by family members. Physical, emotional, financial neglect. Yet most countries in the region have no dedicated law protecting older persons. Add to that inaccessible homes and public buildings, no transport to clinics or shops, disaster preparedness plans that forget the elderly entirely. We are building societies that are simply not safe for older people. We've spent decades preparing for hurricanes, but not for our own aging. And this storm is already here. Why it's worse for small island states. Now imagine dealing with all this, but with limited money, high debt, and extreme weather. That's the small island developing state challenge. Many Caribbean nations rely heavily on tourism or agriculture. One bad hurricane, and national budgets collapse. Recovery takes years. Meanwhile, rising sea levels threaten coastal homes. Climate disasters hit seniors hardest, those who can't evacuate quickly, who need medications, and who rely on caregivers. And while young people migrate for better jobs abroad, the elderly are left behind, alone, unsupported, and out of sight. What's being done, and where we're falling short? To their credit, governments aren't ignoring the issue. Many have drafted national aging policies: Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, and others. Some have non-contributory pensions to help the most vulnerable. Others run medication subsidy programs. A few have public housing options for the elderly. But here's the problem. These programs are often underfunded. Implementation is slow or fragmented, and services rarely reach rural areas. Still, formal long-term care systems, home care, day programs, trained caregivers are almost non-existent. Instead, we rely on families, especially women, granddaughters, daughters, sisters, unpaid, untrained, and overworked. But families are shrinking, and women can't carry this alone anymore. The role of CARICOM, from policy to action. This isn't just a national problem, it's a Caribbean problem. And that's where CARICOM must step up. With 20 full and associate members, CARICOM is uniquely positioned to develop regional guidelines on aging care, accessibility, and elder rights, set targets for long-term care services, pension reform, and elder legislation, support data collection and research to guide action, facilitate training and best practice exchange across member states, elevate aging as a development priority, on par with climate, youth, and crime. Because without coordinated regional action, we're just patching holes on a sinking ship. And time is running out. A better future is still possible. We don't have to see aging as a burden. Older adults bring wisdom, stability, and experience. They can mentor, volunteer, and guide younger generations. Many are still active, productive, and eager to contribute. We just need to see them, support them, respect them. We can reform pensions to be fair and sustainable, build accessible and transportation, integrate geriatric care into our health systems, protect seniors through dedicated laws, and most importantly, listen to them. With the support of regional bodies, international partners like PAHO, and community action, we can build a region where growing old is not a sentence, but a celebration. Here are 4 bonus facts. 1. By 2040, over 2.5 million Caribbean people will be 65 or older. 2. St. Lucia will soon have one of the oldest populations in the Western Hemisphere. 3. The Caribbean is aging faster than North America, but with far fewer safety nets. 4. Only a handful of countries have specific legislation to protect older persons. The Caribbean has endured storms, slavery, and struggle, but this challenge is different. It's not loud, it's not sudden, it's slow, quiet, easy to ignore. But make no mistake, the challenge is here, and how we treat our elders now is how we'll all be treated tomorrow. Let's build a Caribbean where aging is safe, dignified, and full of life. Let's not wait. Let's act together. If this video moved you,
Morning time, 5 after 10.
Well, don't come that come to touch you. A fresh market, we are open 7 days a week with the top of the line products. Well, stock, supermarket and pharmacy, health and beauty care, fresh produce and meats prepared daily, hot and cold kitchen, ready to go meals, sandwiches, salads, and desserts at your fingertips. Easy access, located on the bayfront, environment friendly, and our staff are approachable and ready to assist. Have you figured out who we are? You got it. Fresh your one stop. Fresh market,
Shop with confidence at Cork. Get the lowest prices guaranteed. Get appliances, furniture, electronics, and so much more. If you find a lower price on any other products elsewhere, we'll match the price. Plus, we'll give you back 110% of the difference. Shop with confidence only at Cork. Bringing value home. Special conditions apply.
be careful how you treat other people.
Try again. Some people believe that they're greater than you and I wonder why. And I guess in on, I thought they will never die. But you and I wonder why. Nothing here will last forever. This should serve as a reminder. All who playing holy and mighty, we tell them their fame and their money. When the master calls, no ducking at all, prepare for your funeral. The ground that we walking on, one day will be a room. The ground that we walking on, one day will be a room. There will be no extension when the master call, when the master call. No chance would fail you, no chance would fail you when the master call, when the master call. When you got to go, you got to go. No doctor can fail you. I steady ground that we walking on. One day will be a rule. Be careful how you treat other people. My people, treat people right. You could be the world's richest tycoon, be a skyscraper on the sun and moon, create all kinds of disease, and you must pay your fees. No place to run, no place to hide, and the great man knows that's that right. You could buy and trade the whole world, in the end you still lose your soul. You better get it right before your final flight, cause better will be your flight. Steady ground that we walking on, one day will be your rule. The ground that we walking on, one day will be your rule. There'll be no immunity from sinful or holy when the master call, when the master call. No special favor for the children of master. When the master call, when the master call, when you got to go, you got to go. No doctor can say no. I steady ground that we're walking on. One day will be your rule. Be careful how you treat other people. We keep glorifying the things man made, you and I wonder why. And try to forget the foundation that was laid for you and I. And I wonder why. If God who gave human the wisdom, though no man could hold him for ransom. So I'll think that they are mightier than the Holy Ghost and the Father. Better stay in your head, cause all you walking in a second could be weekend. I steady ground that we walking on, one day will be a rule. The ground that we walking on, one day will be a rule. No acceptance of gifts from millionaire or cheap. When the master call, when the master call, no sacrifice of human blood, what I can afford. When the master call, when the master call, when you got to go, you got to go. No, no. I steady ground that we walking on. One day must be your rule.
12 after 10 o'clock in the morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
You sure that's the time? Check the time again.
It's 12 minutes after 10 o'clock, my brother. you mix up with the time?
Huh?
You mix up with the time?
No, me sometimes I check in the time, and when I don't check, I mischeck the time way. And I say, I thought it was 9 way. When I don't check, it was 10. When it is 11, when I check it just now, that it was 10. It was 9 o'clock. You know me sometimes, well, busy. I wake up, I painting, I carving, I doing everything, I trying to survive. Mr. Linton, I want to engage you for a little while. You have said it not out of flattery or anything. You're a brilliant mind. I learned a lot from you through the years, and I want to, I want to engage you for a little while. Mr. Linton, we are seeing a country with so much potential. I mean, untapped ability. That's what potential is, I think, a couple of years ago when I checked the definition. That means you have talent and you never utilize it. You never use the talent. So that's your potential. It's there quiet. It's there dormant. what little Antigua and Grenada and Tortola, St. Martin, and those little countries there, what do they have on us, Mr. Linton? Why? We cannot get our act together. Why can we? I mean, if you have people with good intentions, Mr. Linton, they haven't got to do like in the South China Sea, where China building islands to build military base or whatever. We have a landmass there with water, sweet water, what they call sweet water, unsalted water. We have salted water. We have, how they call it, Mr. Linton? Sulfur water. Nature giving us hot water and cold water. We have mountains, we have beaches, we have valleys, and do not get it all twisted. Some perverts, I say beaches, meaning the land attached to the sea and with sand and all of that. What I am saying, Mr. Linton, if these guys did not have a deliberate intent or intention to keep the country the way it is, we would have been miles further, because we regress. We went back in time, having to do with our progression, because we had people from St. Thomas, St. Croix, even America, coming to Dominica for health care. Now we have a China hospital. They say they have a friendship in it. I do not see friendship. We do not understand empire. So, Mr. Linton, give me a little breakdown as brief as you can. Then I say something and get off the line, because it has some people that really vex when I call. The pressure going up. Mr. Linton, why can't we get our act together? Is it all the corruption? Is it all the favor of our billions, Mr. Linton, that is unaccounted for, and now it seems like everything is going to happen? Give me some basic observation or justification or reasons why we cannot get our act together, Mr. Linton.
Well, I don't even know what you consider getting our act together. You mean to put us on par, let's say, with a St. Lucia or Antigua or a Grenada in the region? You know.
Yeah,
Get
that's
us to
exactly it. But what I'm saying, once we were ahead of them.
I don't even remember when that was. But you see, okay, Antigua. Let's look at Antigua. Antigua has been building its tourism product for decades. They have this natural attraction of white sand beaches and so on, and they learned along the way what to do with it. And they have these. They develop their yachting sector and so on. There's a lot of private sector investment and foreign direct investment that has gone into Antigua through the years. Antigua now has a $6 billion economy compared to Dominica that is still less than $2 billion. Right? So it's more than 3 times the size. It's a smaller landmass, maybe same population, but more people from the outside moving in and out and so on. With us here in Dominica, we make too many stops and starts in government. We don't like to continue from one administration across to the next. We spend a lot of time breaking down what was there before instead of building up on it. Whether we're transiting from one ruling party to the next, and we lose a lot of time and we lose a lot of resources like that. But you see, if you look at St. Kitts and St. Kitts going into developing its international airport many years ago, bringing on international hotel chains like the Marriott, at the same time working on Port Zante, which opened up the place to larger size cruise vessels and so on. These are what we call the obvious engines of growth for these economies, which Dominica has been trying to get into as well, with not the same kind of success. But I remember years ago, I was saying, and this is since the years when Ian Douglas was tourism minister of Dominica. I was saying that we need to pay more attention to this cruise tourism product and what it can do for us. Okay. At the point when I was making that observation, I'd read a study from the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association. Had some consultants in the U.S. to survey 35 countries in Latin America and the Caribbean in terms of their cruise product and to do some comparisons. I read that study many years ago when Ian Douglas was the tourism minister, and made some observations that we needed to benchmark what was happening in the other cruise destinations across the region that were more successful than us, not because they had the kind of natural attractions we had, but because they were more organized and they had moved purposefully to put the infrastructure that would support the expansion in the cruise business in their territories. And Ian Douglas' response to that was, "Oh, I didn't understand the report, I didn't understand the study, and so on, but this is happening and that is happening." Guess what? Years later, we're still trailing everybody in all these more competitive destinations. We're still trailing them in terms of the attractiveness of our cruise product and or the ability of our cruise product to attract more and more money into the country, support more employment, earn us more foreign exchange, and so on. And now, all of a sudden, out of the hat, last year we jumped on this. We want to have 1 million passengers by the year 2030, and 500,000 stayover arrivals by the year 2030. So we start thinking now what we could have been doing. So we waited all this time to do the international airport. We waited all this time to talk about a proper cruise facility. And while we're waiting all this time for the right time to do it, other people have done it and have moved ahead and have taken care of their young people with better jobs, with better paying jobs and so on than we have. They are better able to employ their people than we are here in Dominica, because for some reason things take too long to happen in Dominica. Whether that's a function of incompetence in government, or in the cabinet of ministers not being effective in the functions that they are assigned and so on. All of that has to be looked at and come into the picture. But I mean, it's sad. The picture you paint is a sad picture, and it forces us to ask the question: well, what is going on? What's going on here? What's going on?
Let me just conclude there, Mr. Linton. I think it's by design, it's systematic, it's deliberate. And you have
but hold on. When you say deliberate, you think that the people responsible for driving the economy forward and taking care of the social services and so on are deliberately keeping us in the position that we are, or they're just not good enough to get the things that are supposed to be done. What?
Listen to me. There is a saying: if something is not broken, you don't fix it. You have heard that, Mr. Linton.
Mm-hmm.
But if something is broken, and it is working to your benefit, would you fix it? That's the psychology that is at play there. To have Dominicans impoverished, turn them into beggars, have young children prostituting, drug dealing, backdoor, human trafficking, stealing, suicide, killing. And then when you create that problem or that avenue, and then somebody comes to you because the child gets sick and they want to fly out to Martinique, you cannot afford to do that yourself. You have to go to the same person that committed that created that environment. And then who gets the praise? Problem, reaction, solution. The person who creates the problem, we are quite unsuspecting and we have short attention span, no matter what Angelo Ali, Lennox, Linton, Arfi, Mate, and all great minds told us. We're still trying to figure out, why can't I not even take my child to Guadeloupe? What is wrong? Somebody come and say, but the whole world is problem. Gaslighting. Mr. Linton, you know what you're going to believe? The whole world is in problem.
Yeah.
And your billions disappear. And you're just saying, well, Mr. Linton know better because he tells me the whole world is in problem. Think for your damn selves. Have a blessed day, sir.
Have a blessed day yourself. And it's 10:23. That's the morning time. Tomorrow, Tuesday, the 24th of June 2025, the Parliament meets for the 5th meeting of the 2nd session of the 11th Parliament under the Dominica Constitution. That will be held at the House of Assembly in Victoria Street, Roseau, tomorrow. Uh, the bill will be introduced there for an act to establish a sperm whale reserve in the Commonwealth of Dominica and to make provisions for the management of the reserve and other related matters. That bill will be introduced. It will also have its second and third readings tomorrow, so it will be signed into law. The intention is to sign it into law tomorrow. All right, and then the other matter of interest there is, let me see what it says here. The Minister of Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, and Social Security, Dr. Irvin McIntyre, is presenting a resolution, authorization to guarantee the increased bank guarantee required by Discover Dominic Authority to secure the additional commitments made in its air services agreement with United Airlines. You know, United has been flying into Dominica direct from New Jersey. They've been flying into Melville Hall direct from New Jersey from earlier this year. I think they started in April. First, the inaugural flight was in February sometime, and thereafter they commenced the regular weekly flight that has been going on. And it was in December of last year, the government went to the parliament and sought and received authorization for a guarantee to allow Discover Dominic Authority to meet its commitments under the air service agreement with United Airlines. Effectively, it was they have a minimum revenue guarantee with United Airlines, which means that United expects a certain amount of minimum revenue on each flight. And should they not achieve that, the government must come up with the difference to ensure they meet that minimum revenue. And so there was an arrangement in place for that. At the point it was in the parliament, it, as I recall, it was an $11.1 million guarantee overall, spread over 3 periods that stretched across a 26-month period beginning in April of 2025. So it would have gone into 2027. Now, United has indicated an interest in having a second flight. That first flight that they've been doing has been on Saturdays. It's in here on Saturdays. And then they're thinking of adding another flight on Wednesdays now. And so that requires the government to adjust, to revise the guarantee so that it would cater for that additional flight and the commitments that attend to that with the Discover Dominica Authority Air Services Agreement. 1026, good morning.
Good morning, Lennox. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Mr. Peter. Nice to hear you, sir. All is good?
Trying my best. I'm just a little unsettled this morning on the various topics.
Uh-huh.
I mean, do we need this additional flight on Wednesdays? In other words, did United Airlines or Discover Dominica, you have an obligation to tell the public in Parliament from the inception on the Saturday flight, what was the outcome? How did it pay? How did it pan out? What is the purpose of adding Wednesdays on? We find to add a flight every day like American Airlines, and they're doing out of Miami. Fine and dandy. But it seems to me that first we must know what was the outcome of the Saturday flights in the last 6 months, in the last year, since the inception. And that is important to tell us in Parliament why we need to go and increase the guarantee to United Airlines via Discover Dominica. And on another topic that really have me hurting a bit. Am I correct, sir? Can you jog my memory? Tell me if I'm correct. Over the years, the state has built more than 500 apartments with this special arrangement developer and builder.
Yep.
And have we not heard over the years, over and over, non-stop talk shows and pronouncements after pronouncements that the planning department was bypassed, was sidelined, were not involved? Am I correct that we have heard those pronouncements in the past, sir?
I have heard. I have heard those pronouncements. I've heard people saying that. What I don't know, what I cannot tell you that I've heard, is the planning department itself indicating they have not received any requests for permission for these buildings. I recall some time ago there was the resilient houses, the 1,000 resilient homes that were supposed to be built by the Barbados company after the Hurricane Maria, and they had already started construction. And then when the planning department identified some difficulty regarding earthquakes and so on, and ordered the construction to be shut down. In terms of MMC, I've heard that MMC is doing buildings that they don't necessarily have planning authority for, but that's not something that I've heard any confirmation from the planning authority or from anybody. But I've heard that. What exactly what you're saying, I've heard that.
So what if that is true, that you have been sidelining, bypassing the planning department? The planning department is not there for vary, you know. They're not a bunch of vary engineers and architects and designers who put their stamp on a plan. When you and I built our little homes, we had to get planning stamp and engineering stamps of approval on it to go ahead. So I'm saying, what if you bypass the planning department? So I'm asking cabinet, who you want to crucify now? Now you go and you get overseas people involved. So our local engineers cannot be involved and tell you exactly where and what went wrong. Cabinet, what if you find out that you bypassed the planning department? Who you going to crucify but yourself? They're the ones that had to put their stamp of approval. I also want to tell that builder, he's not going to get away, you know.
Which one? Which builder?
The builder of grammar school. He has to have an engineering department and would have told him, no man, 10 millimeters is too small. We should use 12 millimeter.
No, but hold on, Peter. Bear with me for a bit. The contractor has a responsibility to build the design that the developer has approved. No?
If I am the builder, I am the one in the last link in the chain. And I see, when I'm going through those plans, I see that, hey, fellas, 12 millimeters is too small. I'm not putting my name and the reputation of my firm on that building. I'm not going with 12 millimeters. I'm recommending a variation. You've heard many contractors come on 95 and talk about that word variation. There have to be a clause for variation. You have to adjust and say, look, I'm not going to go with anything less than 16 millimeters. If you went with the 12 millimeters and you knew that it was not going to hold and it would fail, and it so failed, you have to take some of the blows.
Now this is going to be very interesting because, you see, the building contractor is responsible for managing and executing the actual construction work as per the plans and the specification provided by the architects and the engineers.
Lennox,
So the
when-
contractor is building to design. Okay, but the contractor also has a quality assurance responsibility to ensure that all the work that he's doing is meeting the required quality standards and specifications that are set forth in the documents for the project. In terms of safety, he must implement and maintain safety measures on construction site to protect workers and to protect the public. Whether there's some safety issues and concerns that come into the failure that we saw last week, Monday, that triggered the collapse of the roof, these are questions that hopefully the independent investigation is going to answer. But right now, we don't know whether it is faulty construction or faulty construction execution of the designs that caused the failure, or whether it was faulty design, and how the faulty design, if that is what the case is, came into the picture with the approval of the developer. What is the role of the developer? What is the relationship between all these parties? For example, if the developer decides that the design is too expensive and therefore needs another design, which is then compromised on in terms of structural integrity, and that triggers the collapse, who is to blame? Is it the contractor who built it? Is it the designer who signed off on the compromised design, or is it the developer, or is it all of them?
Lennox, there's a flaw in the system. Let me jog your memory. Lai River Hotel, Grace Song,
right,
and your friend, this is Karen Peanut Burn, told us that the contractor used less PSI, pounds per square inch, in the concrete.
Yeah,
and they shut down the project.
The deceased referred to it as fraudulent concrete.
Thank you.
Okay.
Donny Boyd was building the Isilo Black Bridge. I am sure my memory does not fail me. CEP condemned a section of the concrete, and they had to tear it apart and go back again and redo the concrete. Where is government's department that was next door to Public Works? Are they still in existence? Did they test the concrete PSI settings, the strength of the concrete?
You mean that the one that was on the roof, the collapsed roof?
The whole building, not just only the roof, the whole building. Was it being tested floor by floor every time you poured concrete? Did it meet the specifications? So if a man gives you the building and he tells you put 10 millimeter, you know what comes to mind? I recall many years ago as a little boy, there once walked the grounds of Dominica and a builder called Newell Shillingford from Girodale. And they told him, so how many degrees to put the roof? And he said, just slope through it, man. Just slope through it. So did you just slope it? I mean, the builder, so because you saw 12 millimeters, you knew, your engineer told you that it was not enough, it was not strong enough. You still went ahead because you're under pressure. The minister told you, I want my school in June. And you're under pressure to deliver. Cabinet, go and raise a can of worms, cabinet. Leave that alone.
Leave it alone.
Sometimes you just have to leave well alone.
No. You leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Meaning what? You don't want an investigation?
In other words, government, it is you planning. It is you. It is your contractor.
Okay.
It's your developer.
The gentleman you spoke of a while ago is talking about sloping. Just slope the thing. Just slope it. Huh? That's the same one who told Jojo, your father, that all his sons were boys.
I didn't quite get that. I'm sorry.
No. I'm asking you whether the gentleman you spoke to just said, "Well, just slope the thing. Just slope it." Right? Was that the
Yes.
same one who told your dad that all his sons were boys?
Something happened. There's a flaw in the system.
The flaw in the system. Okay,
Something
all right.
went wrong
Yeah,
somewhere in
all
the
right.
chain
Okay.
of command.
All right.
Cabinet, I pray it does not fall back on you.
Mhm.
And I'm begging you, leave it alone. Finish
Okay.
with that. Just go back to the drawing board.
Take your
Take care, bro.
get your insurance money and move on. Okay, Peter Karam says leave that grammar school thing alone. No need for an investigation. The government is at fault, and he doesn't necessarily want a can of worms to be opened up. 10:39. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Linton.
Morning,
All
sir.
my shirts are all my shirts are long handled.
Long handles. Yeah, okay.
Mr. Linton, I hear you and Peter hammering away, but the onus is on housing and planning and their inspectors and their engineers, because the developer doesn't have to. The developer is not the authority. He cannot move forward if housing and planning says, no, you can't. And if housing and planning says nothing, that means they have no authority. So if someone is going ahead with a project that is not approved by housing and planning, and housing and planning has a responsibility to stop the project and correct it. Housing and planning cannot be quiet. Otherwise, the responsibility falls on them. Why the bill collapsed? Their job would have been to stop it. You agree, Mr. Linton?
Yeah, well, if they're stopping ordinary people in construction that these ordinary people don't have permission for, then if the projects of that nature that don't have their permission are stopped as well.
Well, the government cannot. Let's put it this way: the political arm of the government cannot go ahead with projects if housing and planning says no. So that means to say, if the project goes forward, housing and planning is complicit because they're not doing their job. They're allowing the politicians to write roughshod over them.
Well,
their responsibility. What's that?
Well, I hope I just hope the investigation is going to bring all those points to the fore, and will let us know exactly in detail what went down. That's the purpose of it. I'm also hoping that some attention will be paid to value for money we have been receiving on these projects. Yeah.
I wanted to touch on something that you and Blessings talked about briefly. This government, they talk about this and that, and Blessings was saying it appears intentional, or it is intentional. I'm asking myself, is it intentional? And I want to give the quick example of the coffee plant that was donated by Mr. Chavez, the president of Venezuela. He sent his navy to erect it at no cost. He supplied the coffee factory. He sent his navy to erect it. They even brought in coffee beans and tested it. And Dominica's government failed to take it from there. Though at the time, they were still talking about revamping the coffee plant, the coffee crop and all that stuff. And it still failed, even if a coffee factory was given to them. I mean, that is a major failure, or is it intentional?
Yeah.
And that question lingers in my mind based on what Blessings was saying.
Yeah.
Is it intentional that he wants to cripple agriculture while giving lip service to it? Because we've heard a lot of lip service to agriculture, especially now it has increased. But we're not seeing the tangible results of agriculture, but we're seeing the failures. And all these diseases that have invaded Dominica, we're not hearing anything that the government is doing about it. The African snail, the disease that attacked the citrus. Of course, we've had black sigatoka yellow. We're not hearing about campaigns to eradicate these diseases so that agriculture can breathe again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone at the telephone. It's 10:43. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Linton.
Morning, sir.
I would like to ask you to be careful of what you say on your radio station, because there could be consequences to the things that you mentioned, which are not good.
You hold on. You'd like to ask me to be what?
To be careful
Uh-huh.
on the things that you mentioned with your audience on your radio station.
So for example,
Radio station.
for example,
I beg your pardon?
for example,
You know what I'm talking about, and you know who I am.
no,
We school together.
no, I don't. Well, I don't pick up the voice, but I don't know.
I know you pick up the voice.
What's that?
But I know you know me very, very well.
No, I'm just saying I don't pick up the voice, and I try my best to be responsible. So I just
call the truth that you yourself cannot verify.
Say that again.
Could you please tell them to desist from saying this thing?
Okay, all right. Caller is concerned that people are saying things that they cannot verify, but they're being allowed to say it. All right. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lincoln.
Good morning, dear. How are you?
I'm blessed.
Good.
And good morning to your listeners at home and abroad. Lincoln, I listen to Q95 every day. And I just want to say, the law of the universe is retribution. That's the law of the universe. Mm-hmm. And anybody that helps to bring this country to the state it is in, the law of the universe will deal with them. And it is retribution. Because it is too painful and hurtful to hear what's happening in the country and to see how Dominica falls. Mm-hmm. Good morning and bye-bye.
Good morning to you. Have a great day. Calling all the way from the USA. Yes. More phone calls at 10:45. Good morning.
Mr. Lincoln, good morning.
Morning.
And good morning to you and your family and the radio listeners.
God bless you.
I try to understand the investigation that they're making on that building that's full. Because otherwise, they're looking to blame somebody. Because first you have the architect to draw the plan, then you have the developer, then you have the engineer to come and supervise, then you have the contractor. But the last person that has to hold responsible for that is the contractor. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why I say that, even though an architect gives you a design or an engineer come and tell you it's okay, you as a contractor, you should know well whether it can stand up or if it will not stand. You should know if that is a good job or if it is not. You should question the architect. I'm a contractor, and there's a lot of time I have called the architect and question them some certain I see that to me that don't make sense. That don't match it. That's not good, that's not strong. You understand? As a contractor. Because when I do it, I'm the one that's going to get the blame, not you. You only draw the plan. But I am the one who is executing the plan. So you have to come good with that plan. Now, planning division have a system where things are passed on the table. Sometimes the planning division don't even go over the plan. Somebody that passed the plan and planning don't even know about it. And it happens. That happens all the time. Mm. The engineer maybe don't even call on the site. He stays in his office and they'll say, it's okay, pour it concrete, or it's okay, tie this steel, or it's okay, do this. But you as the contractor, it's going to fall back on you. You have to make sure that your work is properly done. And when it happens, it is secure because you is the one that's going to get the blame. So right now, with all the investigations they're going to make there, it must fall back and fall back on that contractor. And I'm not telling you, I don't know, I'm telling you what I know. They're going to put it back on the contractor. So the contractor is the one that every building he builds or she builds, every building that they're involved in supposed to be under investigation to make sure all of them are strong. Otherwise, we might have something like that happening. Mr. Linton, have a good morning.
Have a good morning yourself. All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Caller is strong on the view there that this investigation or to begin and end with the contractor. Nobody else needs to be considered or spoken to, because it's the contractor's responsibility to ensure that whatever he or she is given is safe, is secure, and whatever they build, regardless of what they are given, what design they're given to build, they make sure that nothing will happen with it. So one wonders what would be the well, I guess there's a necessity for the architects here to draw the plans. The structural engineers must be specific on certain structures within the building that have to be constructed. So there are specific designs for that, separate and apart from the architectural designs. But you have a developer, and the developer has overall responsibility to manage the project. This caller believes, notwithstanding all of that, there's only one area where blame should rest right now, and that is with the contractor. And he knows what he's talking about, he says. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Linton. How are you
Morning.
doing? It's Trucker right here.
Trucker, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing very well. Out here in Utah, listening to the big station.
Okay.
Mr. Linton, there's a lady called from New Jersey. She just called a while ago, and I endorse what she said. All those that participate and took part in bringing Dominica to this demise, the laws of nature, going to deal with them accordingly. And it's not something we're just saying out of our mouth. It's cause and effect. There's the laws we have to respect. Because there's individual that is suffering right now. There's individual because of that, they die, they lose their life, lose their earnings, buildings, their property, and a lot, and they shed tears and blood. They're going to suffer the consequences of that. Mr. Linton, again, you're talking about the building, but that's my words and my observation from what's been going on in Dominica, a lot of blood sacrifice. I feel that's me saying that now, not Q95, not you and nobody else. What happened to that building, that was intentional. So when our kids, our children come there to have a bloody sacrifice,
how would you arrive at that? I mean, really, caller?
Okay, I would
they build a building. They build a building.
Professional.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. You are suggesting that this was deliberate to kill children in the grammar school?
I'll take that back. I'll take it back.
But exactly,
What happened to the bill? Mr. Linton, I just said I'll take it back.
Please. Yeah.
If professionals are building a building, there's planning, there's an engineer, there's architect. How did something like that pass all those departments?
Well,
I'm just feeling suspicious about something went wrong.
Well, something definitely. No, but something definitely went wrong. The roof caved in, and right now it is the responsibility has been passed to professionals to determine what exactly went wrong. They're going to retrace steps and see what is what, and we will learn from that. We will see what goes on. Whether there's need to go further than that, we will also see that. Right now, those people like you and I who don't know, because we're not the professionals, will look into the situation. The government has said they're retaining independent firm of independent consultants, engineers that will investigate and advise. Let's see what they say. All right.
But Mr. Linton, if you're building your house, they are going to come and check you on your plan and everything.
Yes,
so why nobody came in and checked the plan while they're building? There's inspector checking out while they're going. Who knows? The rest of the building might be there might be issues with the rest of the building. You might have to demolish the whole building because there might be issues.
Yeah.
Because our children are going to be in that school. And God forbid a strong wind or something else and the building cave in with them, so they should demolish the whole building. Because
All
we don't want nothing. If they miss that, they would miss many more. I just don't trust. What we should be talking right now, just removing this government out there and have a better government, better people to move this country forward. Because there's a lot more things that's going to be happening as far as building, employment, going down. A lot more destruction going to come. Anything these people touch, going to go down. It's like the generation curse is on their hands. Anything they do. We need a different government to move Dominica forward, Mr. Linton, right now.
All right.
Dominica needs to be better off right than
We got that. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning again. It's me. I was just distracted earlier on. We're going to hear something from planning regarding to that collapse of the grammar school.
No,
We're going to hear something from planning on that.
I don't know.
But by right.
No, you should. You probably should. We should
By
hear
right,
something.
we're supposed to hear something from planning. If that thing, if that the what do you call the plans for the building passed by planning, proper inspection was done, and if they pass it, what fault did they see, and it asked them to like do some adjustment to certain parts of it. If they did that, corrections were done to what planning tell them before it passed planning approval. And we would like to know if it passed planning approval. We'd really like to know. We don't want foreigners to come there. They pay foreigners to come there, and when foreigners come there, they cannot say what they want to say. So we wouldn't like that to happen. That is why a lot of the projects in Dominica are being done by foreigners. Because when something happens, and how much money that actually is and was involved in them projects, we would never know because they are done by foreigners. We don't know what happening. So if it's by Dominicans, and at least we'll get to know how much it was. But no foreigner that did not, we wouldn't know the exact amount certain buildings cost, certain projects cost. No, we don't know. We don't. And by right, we're supposed to know. Let's look at the airport. One time they tell us it was 1.1 billion, then 1.3 billion, and it's going up and up and up and up. We don't know. And look at the stage of it right now. The planning had done, they do what they were supposed to do with planning, then everybody would know how much land they need for the airport. Don't be just going right telling you, I want that land there, I want that land there. And you got to pay. That shouldn't be so. It should be something well mapped out, well planned out. So we know we're going to need 64,000 acres of land. And we ask the people, have a meeting with the people and ask them, we only have to clear out by such and such a date. And we're going to pay all you for all your property. That should be happening. But this thing doesn't happen here. It's Konukale Nuketa Pay, and that is nonsense. Telling them in serious trouble in our country, you know. Serious, and a lot of people not seeing that because they get in the pretense. They get in the crumbs on the table. And that's not, you're supposed to love your country.
Indeed.
And the man lying down on the road. Yeah, Ibrahim is to protect him because he's doing good for the country. They're not getting $1. They're not getting an apartment for them to do that. They want betterment for their country. But here, we're looking for what we can get. You cannot give me what I follow in you for. No love of country, and that is bad. I love my country, bad. I want to see my country develop. Like 10 kids developing, Antigua developing, St. Lucia develop, and all these people living that they're going to all different functions the Caribbean have, and they're seeing the vast difference in that country. So listen, let me ask you a question. In all the passport sellers, have any of them, any one of them have a housing, how we call it, project going on them, like for their own? The money they're getting from the passport, use it to do a nice housing project?
We're in Dominica? No.
That's and I'm looking at that happening in places like Guyana. I see that happening in some places in Africa. People using their own money to build nice houses to rent for their people and at low cost. We getting the short end of the stick to hold. And it's sickening. I learned to sleep last night looking at all them things in Africa. They're looking at Algeria and all these other parts of Africa. All these people, Grenada and Tupatu. I did my goal on a weekend to just sit down there and look at all the different things there. And to see we really getting the short end of the stick to hold. Oh my God, I can't. I'm feeling sorry for our children that are coming up. We really need to get rid of that person we have there that are looking out for me, myself, and I. No, something wrong somewhere. We have to get rid of these people. Oh, much I'll say, any means necessary. Bye bye.
All right, thank you very much. It's 10:59. That's all the time we have this morning. Next up will be the live coverage of the press conference by the Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Scarrett. That will be, I think that's coming from his office, the Financial Center. Up next. Tomorrow, of course, Parliament meets. Act to provide for the establishment of a sperm whale sanctuary in Dominica, and the resolution for authorization of bank guarantee to cover the commitments made by the Discover Dominica Authority in their air services agreement with United Airlines, is adding an additional flight on Wednesdays coming in from New Jersey direct to Melville Hall. See you this afternoon on Talk on the Block.